What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Straight Facts Show. I'm Mr. Straight Facts. Man, today was insane. I can't tell you how many times I was like screaming at my phone because I wasn't watching TV. I was at my phone when I seen this hearing today with Pam Bondi. I was screaming to the top of my lungs, and I was in a public place. I'm like, what the fuck? I could not believe this heifer was on here literally protecting pedophiles and ignoring the survivors. That's what I call this show. Pam protects pedophiles and ignores survivors. It's PP piss. That's what it is. PP piss. Pam protects pedophiles, ignores survivors. Because that's what she did. I mean, when Jayapal came up and basically said, ladies, survivors, stand up in solidarity. They wore the shirts with the blacked out. I got to get me one of them shirts. I don't know where to get them from. I got to get me one of the blacked out shirts to support. But it shocked me. And this is the thing that kills me when I hear people like on MSN now, whatever the hell it is now, and other places. I get tired of them saying that statement. I'm not shocked. You should be. Every time it happens, you should be fucking shocked. You should be shocked. Because again, we should not normalize this insanity. What's up, Woke Mike? We should not normalize this insanity whatsoever. But somehow we have gotten to this place where you see on every news media, whatever, not the far right, I don't even know what they're talking about anymore. It's kind of hard to even watch them. But they say, well, you know, I'm not shocked, but I am. I'm like, shut up. You should be shocked at every time, and it shouldn't be no disclaimer of it. It's like, this is fucked up, highly fucked up, and we should not normalize it. We should not be like, oh, it's happened so many times, it's normalized. That's what they want you to say. That's what they want to hear. And when you say it, Americans start to feel the same fucking way. It's kind of, when you speak something, you speak it into existence. And as grown-ass people in the media, you should fucking know this by now. So more often that you say, I'm not shocked, other Americans say the same thing. And you kind of build this armor of like protection for the bad people. Being Trump, being all these pedophiles. I'm not shocked. You should be. This should shock the fuck out of you. And it should tell you that this is not fucking normal. When the shock disappears, shit becomes normal. You should be shocked that Pam Bondi, again, get the visual in your head. I keep on saying this to even when I'm screaming at the screen about the survivors today. One of the things I was waiting for one of them to say is to stop looking at these women as women. They didn't get assaulted for the most part as women. They got assaulted as children, as girls, as babies, okay? So you need to address them as, don't look at these as women because they didn't get assaulted as women. They got assaulted as babies. So you need to look at these people as children. Sorry for any of you who are grown and I'm looking at you like you're a child when you're grown. I'm sorry, but you got hurt when you was a child. That's the way I am going to address this. Stop talking about these women. Start talking about these babies. Okay? That's what we need to do. You're starting to say women so much, it sounds like they had a choice in the matter. It kind of like diffuses the situation with some of these nut jobs out here. They start to think like, oh, they made a decision. They're grown women. No, they're not. They were babies. And that's what Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, cockeyed Cash Patel, that's what they're counting on, for you to see this as grown women who just made a decision to be in this situation. Because they never addressed them as children. And in fact, in some of the documentation that has them as children, I'm going to show you later that Pam Bondi has them as young teenagers. She has a document in which she adds 10 years to the child. That document that I showed you guys, they said new Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute, 9 years old, equals 9 years old. She edited that for her own purposes and changed a 9-year-old to a 19-year-old. Got proof of it. I'll show it to you in a minute. But It took a lot out of me today watching this heifer speak. It took a lot out of me. Disrespectful. She does not have any allegiance to America. This heifer went on a promotional tour. I mean, that's something. We're on a world tour with Muhammad, my man. That's what she was like. She was on a world tour promoting Donald Trump like it was a rap fucking album. Saying shit about Donald Trump that had nothing to do with it. I'm like, heifer, you work for the DOJ. Why are you talking about stock prices? You're the DOJ, Department of Justice, bitch, not Department of Finance. The fuck are you talking about? It was driving me insane. And to hear, like the Republicans outside of Thomas Massey talking about nonsense. There was one dude talking about, well, we were in my town and certain people couldn't get from one street to the other because of some Native American group. Fuck you. And your whole entire family, your mama, your sister, your cousin, your slow daddy, all y'all, fuck you. You sitting here talking about this stupid ass shit in your city. I'm going to give you something real quick. The majority of Americans don't give a fuck about your street. They don't give a fuck about your 90-year-old constituent. We don't give a fuck about him. He can't get somewhere, then keep his ass somewhere. Call an Uber, bitch. We don't give a fuck. That ain't got shit to do with America. That's one person. You guys be bringing up one person scenarios like that's supposed to matter over what America gives a fuck about. We want to protect our children. 90-year-old don't live his life. But you think that these women who are grown now but were babies then, that shit ain't happening to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, well, 18 is legal now, 17-year-olds right the fuck now. As we speak, it is 6:24 Pacific Standard Time. There is a child being raped right now, and you talking about a 90-year-old motherfucker that can do whatever the fuck he wants. Keep his ass at home. He's 90. Fucking live the rest of your life chilling. The fuck you doing somewhere at 90 years old trying to get across the street? And why the fuck do we care? We ain't trying to protect 90-year-olds. They don't live their lives. We're trying to protect babies. I couldn't believe my ears. I was like, what the fuck are y'all talking about, Republicans? There are literally women sitting over here that got stories. There are children right the fuck now going through what they went through. And they are not only just fighting for themselves, they're fighting for that baby right the fuck now that is being raped by a 60-year-old white male. And you talking about some 90-year-old fucker trying to get to one location as if that is something that's great that she did. We don't give a fuck. I'm sorry, I'm tired of this shit. Talking nonsense. A whole day of Republicans talking nonsense. I'm like, what the fuck has that got to do with anything? We're happy that you did this. No, we're not. You guys are so far away from what America feels. Fuck Republican, Democrat, Independent. What do Americans feel? We don't have the same problem as that 90-year-old. But you know what all of us got, even that 90-year-old? Steak that costs too fucking much. Chicken that's too high. Bills in certain states based on these tariffs and bullshit that Donald Trump did that literally for heat in these places where snow is like crazy is 4, 5, 6, 10 times higher than it was last year or the year before that. And you talking about a 90-year-old can't get across a certain place because some native people decided to say, you know what, fuck y'all, we're going to put some kind of rules here because you guys keep playing this colonizer bullshit and we're gonna represent our spot. And you talking about, oh, you know, we're going to talk about, fuck all that. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of it. It's bullshit. I don't care. If you don't like cussing, get the fuck up out of my room because I am sick of us trying to be cordial with stupid fucks. That is stupid. The topic of today in this situation was what? Pedophiles harming our children. And you see me fighting right now the way I'm fighting, understand that these children's parents and these women who used to be children, some of them voted for Trump. And guess what? I still am fighting for them. Why? Because no matter what their affiliation with politics, when they were a baby, they weren't voting Republican. They weren't voting Democrat. They just wanted to play with a fucking doll, and some asshole wanted them to play with their dick. And you guys are sitting here having conversation about bullshit when you should be talking about these children. I ain't got no room, no time for none of this other bullshit. These side stories that Republicans were trying to push was fucking insane. None of us care about that shit. Not even Republicans. They're playing this tribal bullshit. Pam Bondi was pushing some shit. What'd you say to Merrick Garland? Fuck Merrick Garland. He should have been on his point doing his job. Fuck Bill Barr. He should have been on point doing his job. Fuck the one before that. He should have been on point doing his job. Now what? You have no whataboutisms. Do your fucking job, Pam Bondi. Instead of pointing at everybody else. He did it so I can be a dumbass too. No. If you're going to sit here and run on fighting this and being the leader on this as Republicans and MAGA, you don't get to come into office and act like the previous people that you talk shit about to get your ass in position. You don't get to find comfort in their fuck-ups. As Americans, regardless of what party we in, we understand those people fucked up. But let's get to the reality of this. I'm getting sick and tired of this measuring crap. Let's deal with the reality of it. Under Bush Jr., under Obama, under Trump, under Biden, back under Trump, prior to under Reagan, these things have been going on forever. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that Jeffrey Epstein is the first to do this. This shit's been going on since enslavement of this country, since the beginning of this country. I done told you if you ain't been here before. Fancy girls, look it up. Think that's the name. They used to have black people, Africans at the time, later to be called black in the 1690s or whatever the fuck it was when you declared this supremacy bullshit. They had black people, black women that were fine, so that these white dudes who own them can fuck them and have whatever fun they had with them, and then have babies. So then creating a law in the late 1600s as well, so that their wives could beat the living shit out of them with frying pans and kill them whenever they felt like it, because they wouldn't go to jail. They had to create a law for that. Because the white women were killing these black babies in droves with pans. Can you imagine the death it took? How many swipes this white slave owner woman had to beat a child over the head until he or she died? And then the husband coming home from whatever the fuck he was doing to find a dead body, brains scattered all over the place, of a child that he fathered from the enslaved person that he raped. And then to take that child, this whatever this carcass is left over, that they both looked at and was like, get it out of here. No emotion toward that individual human being, that soul that she killed because she was jealous her husband stuck his dick into a black person whom they considered a fucking animal, which in that situation, you would think it's bestiality, right? They thought it was an animal, yet her husband was fucking an animal. None of this psychologically people think about. But that's what was done. And that's what happened to these children. It's so crazy that it's mostly white children. And still, you got white people not even coming to the aid of white babies. And it's crazy. You got a black man defending white babies who have grown up to vote for a racist Trump. But you can't get certain white people to like Pam Bondi to fight for her own kind just because they don't believe in the crooked shit she believes in. I'm going to tie Pam Bondi to Epstein and Trump, and not in the way that you may think, but just her ideology, the way she acts, that tells you that she's no different than these pedophiles. She's no different than Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump in the way they think. I'm not saying she attacked anybody. I'm not saying she raped anybody. I'm saying her same tactics the same tactics that made Jeffrey Epstein rich and made Donald Trump rich, she did. And not only did she do it like years ago, she did it today. Yeah, she did it today. The same shit that Jeffrey Epstein did, she pulled today. We're going to go through that. We're going to go through that. I'm sick of trying to justify this shit. It's over, yo. I am done with it. And if you, no matter what party you believe in, are sitting around acting like this shit is okay, as these Republicans obfuscate and talk about everything under the sun but protecting children, I think people should go and check on their babies. Because if they don't give a shit about these babies who grew up to be women, but the problem happened when they were babies and they're still happening, if they're not protecting their children, somebody need to check on their kids. Because you can't tell me if Pam Bondi don't give a fuck about children who got raped, if she has children, nieces and nephews, you are not protected around this woman. None of them. The idea that President Donald Trump talked about his daughter being voluptuous as a child should already hint you off that something's fucking wrong with him. The idea that in public, this man literally said his daughter was voluptuous, and that when they asked him, what does him and his daughter have in common? I think she said something like golf. This fool said sex. Never in my life have I thought about my children in a sex. The word sex and me came to mind in my head for no reason. No, none at all. My kids are grown. I have a problem talking with them right now. I mean, I don't want nobody to say like, they ain't got nothing to do with me. Now, if he hits you, it's time for daddy to pop up. But other than that, don't need to know. Keep it to yourself. Here it is, Donald Trump, like, me and her have sex in common. How so? In these documents, Donald Trump is accused of rape multiple times. What did they say? Nothing. There's nobody to investigate. They never investigated him. So you should be up to investigation now. Not even a part of her mindset. She's out here talking about everything under the sun but protection of kids. Now we're going to watch her interaction when Representative Jayapal asked her question. It was her turn to ask this heifer questions. Yeah, I called her heifer because the chick, to me, has no respect for nobody. I got none for her. Fuck her.
Are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information? I am reclaiming my time, and when I reclaim my time, it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman is reclaiming
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
She said, get into the gutter. She throws like slights that are slightly racist. But let's just say it wasn't racist. Just say it was just highly disrespectful. Because she's just asking this woman to say, you're sorry for the fuck up. Because there has been a fuck up. You guys have yet to talk to this woman, but you've taken time to go talk to the actual pedophile, Ghislaine Maxwell. She's had a conversation with Donald Trump's still lawyer, and they had a 9-hour fucking conversation. And you have had not one conversation with these women, not one public apology to these women for our government. You can literally be like, you know what? I apologize for our government for not looking into your case all these years. You don't even have to take full responsibility for it, Pam Bondi. Not at all. You can literally talk about for decades under multiple administrations, this country has failed you. How hard is that? Because we have. But no, can't take any responsibility. Can't even be the big person, even if you're going to throw everybody else under the bus, including yourself. You couldn't do that. This woman ignored them 100%. Ignored them. And I told you I was going to promise you, whereas this woman is no different than Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. Why? Well, there's been a lot of information through articles over the years, through Michael Wolff, through the voice of Jeffrey Epstein, through Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mike. Is it not Michael? I think it might be Michael Epstein. Michael something Epstein, his brother. Can't remember his first name. His brother, who also knew about this shit and is in these emails. All of them knew what was going on. They all knew. And in this situation, what did they do? Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. Remember that pre-teen type of drawing of a girl. It's not a woman. A girl with small breasts and Donald Trump's name written in the hairs of the vagina. That was his signature. And in it talks about being an enigma and these secrets that him and Jeffrey Epstein, we're more alike than different. That's what Donald Trump's talking about. We're more alike. What are they more alike in? Pedophilia, of course. And that's what he's talking about for his birthday. Oh, we're just so much alike. Yeah. How did they go about it? Well, you go through the process of hearing that Jeffrey Epstein learned about getting models via owning these modeling agencies. He learned how to set it up through Donald Trump. Donald Trump had them. He learned how to do that. He was already doing it by having his Ghislaine Maxwell go to schools and shit and find people and have them come in this situation of you can massage and get money of $200 or so just to massage. That's how he was doing it before. But then Donald Trump had a trove of young girls, which he used to peek in on. He said it publicly, right? Talking about him walking behind and seeing these 13, 14, 15-year-old models butt naked and talking about it with Howard Stern, who was creepy as fuck as well, by acting like it was kind of cool that you get to see these kids naked. Sick. Those people talking about that in this situation, Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein learned from Donald Trump how to have access to a shit ton of girls instead of having to go to every little middle school and junior high school to find them. Now I have them run into me via model agencies. And what happened? Jeffrey Epstein got this $77 million location, apartment, building, whatever the fuck it is, house in New York that was owned to Leslie Wexner and set up cameras in every fucking room. Even in the documents, we find out that he ordered his assistant or whomever is the security people to start putting cameras in the Kleenex boxes, surveilling everything, which lets you know that when the secretary, when he brought his family to Jeffrey Epstein's island, that Jeffrey Epstein recorded his kids. If they ever went to the bathroom, even in the house, they were recorded. But if they ever went to the bathroom and used the bathroom, the cameras was in Howard Lutnick. The cameras were in the Kleenex boxes. So your kids being undressing to use the restroom? Oh yeah, Jeffrey Epstein had a picture of it. If your wife went in there, he had a picture of it. If you went in there, he knows what your unit looks like. He knew before he died. So you took your family there. That was your choice, Lutnick. And you knew what kind of person he was. But the idea that he had it in his place, and he said the same that Donald Trump did with Mar-a-Lago. It's crazy how they both got models, kids to be around at all times. There's video of them hanging with kids, him and him, both together with a bunch of children around, shit ton. They both had a location in which they had cameras and hotel rooms or a lot of rooms that they could record in. Birds of a feather fly the fuck together. They were best friends, and there's a document in which a young girl of 13 at the time that it happened said she was raped multiple times by Donald Trump, 4 to be exact, and 3 by Epstein. Epstein, with a closed fist, hit her because he was pissed that he should have took her virginity instead of Donald Trump. This is in the document. And there's nobody to look at. How do you have these detailed information of one hit me with his closed fist, Donald Trump hit me with his open hand? As I screamed, he continued to rape me. Jeffrey Epstein had me on my stomach raping me. Then he turns me over and he's mad at me and he punches me with his closed fist because he should have been the first one. I should have never gave it to Donald Trump first, as if she gave shit to Donald Trump. And they proceeded to do this, Donald Trump 4 times, him 3 times, to one 13-year-old child. That alone is enough that he should not be in any powerful position over anybody. And Pam Bondi, there's nothing in these documents that tell us anything. Cockeyed Cash Patel, nothing. Dan Bongino, back on his little podcast, after he done seen all this information. They seen it unredacted, everything. And Dan Bongino hid that shit, and he's out here now trying his best to try and pick his career back up, knowing what he knows and still acting like he don't know what he knows. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein went to jail, and in these documents there was a co-conspirator who also went to jail we don't know about, hadn't heard about until we read these documents. And guess what? Isn't it a coinky-dink? How you think he died in jail? It wasn't cancer. He was hung too in a jail cell. One of his co-conspirators who got arrested in jail hung himself just like Epstein. It's crazy how these departments allowed these people to just die on the scene. All this in the Epstein files. And they see nothing. There's nothing here to see. There's nothing here to see. They're protecting pedophiles over children. And all day, Republicans, all they talked about was nonsense. Except for Thomas Massey. Tillis, I think, had some conversation, but it was still off base. At least part of it was off base. Because there are really no conversations to be had. One of the Democrats, I can't remember his name, he was pleading for this dipshit to help him with people who were trying to kill him and his family because of Donald Trump. Do you really think that she would really help you? I mean, why'd you give her this moment of seeming like she was really giving a fuck? As soon as she walked away, she laughed at the fact. You have to know that. And that she's not going to do a goddamn thing to help you. I didn't know why he did that. It didn't make any sense to me. But hey, to each his own. Do your thing. But Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump both have modeling agencies. Both are accused of raping a 13-year-old Donald Trump, a 14-year-old Jeffrey Epstein, more than that. Both were partners in a lot of crime that we know of, or crime, business ventures, whatever that we know of. They're enigmas that they've agreed on in the letter that Donald Trump wrote him, and that they have wonderful secrets. Donald Trump also wrote him with that prepubescent picture he drew of a girl with small breasts and a hairy vagina that he wrote his name to make it a hairy vagina. We all seen that. Donald Trump has said he grabbed women by their pussies. I mean, how much more shit do they need? I mean, seriously. If I was a bank robber, I walk up to you and say, you know what? I robbed people. I shot somebody 7 times. I did this. I did that. I got accusations for this. I got accusations. You're just going to let them walk. That ain't a thing. But for some reason, this is a thing. Where are we at as a country that people have told you, I commit fucking crimes, and we sit there and say, no, he didn't. He said it out of his own fucking mouth. They just let you do it. And these women coming out, I didn't let him do it. 30-something, like 28 to 30 women came out and said he grabbed him by the pussy. And a good amount of Americans said, no, he didn't, even though he said it out of his own mouth. I mean, it's fucking insane to me. It's insane to me. You're not protecting children. We all should be protecting children. Fuck your party. Children are more important than party. As a child, they don't know nothing about Republican, Democrat, independent, conservative. They just want to play with dolls and toys and shit and believe in Santa. And you're okay. Looking at these photos, you're okay with letting the people who made them do this and have been accused of doing this to just walk freely. Sail off into the sunset in their old age with these memories. Even Donald Trump says, I am well past going to heaven. He knows he's not going to make it. He said that. And guess what Republicans said? Oh, he's joking. You guys can't take a joke. No, that is the devil telling you, I know I'm not going. And I've enjoyed my life doing all this devilish shit. I'm not going to heaven. I done made my peace with it. And these idiots are sitting here like, well, you know, he's cracking the joke and you just can't handle it. Yeah, really? Really? There are people in these documents that said that Donald Trump killed their baby, threw it in some kind of lake over like in Michigan or some shit. It's accusations. But again, who makes these accusations about nothing? I mean, when does this shit come that we get charged with shit that we've never even done? I mean, like, never. Like, I've never been to, let's say, Jamaica. There is nobody saying they saw me in fucking Jamaica. There is no accusations that they saw me in Jamaica. It's never happened. But this man has people saying, I saw you in a boat. I saw you with 13-year-old. You was there. You was here. Who makes up this shit? And what do they gain? None of them ask for money. So you can throw the money issue out the way. So what is it? To destroy Donald Trump? For what? Corey Feldman's been telling you about this type of industry shit in America for the longest fucking time. Everybody thought he was fucking crazy. But if you go back and listen to Corey Feldman and the shit he says, it matches up with this Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, and all that. It matches up with all these people that have been caught over the years. This Wasserman person, Casey Wasserman in California that has an agency, or New York, whichever one he's in, it's in the documents. These things are matching up. In America, you know the casting couch is real. You know that there's pedophiles in this country. It's not made up. And when the people come to you who were victims and say, I was in it, how the fuck are you saying, no, you're not? Could you at least find some evidence that they're not? Instead of ignoring them? It's fucking insane. It's insane. We got The reason why I say I want you to look at that, Pam Bondi pulls the same tricks as Epstein and Donald Trump. And I don't know whether she learned it from him or this is who she is, and like, again, birds of a feather flock together. This is what you're seeing right now. This document right here, you see it. Pam Bondi was in court today, and they was talking about she had a burn book, which she's had before, where she turns her open her folder to whomever's speaking, and she's got them for the Democrats, not for the Republicans, not unless Thomas Massey. And she opens it up when they're talking. Pay attention to her. When she finds out who's supposed to be talking to her next, she's sitting there. She's not listening to them really. She's organizing her book. She's trying to find out the burn book. And what's his name? Moskowitz, or whatever his last name is. Moskowitz. He's like, where's my burn book? I want to see it. Tell me what it is. I'm going to rate it. He diffused her. She couldn't come up with anything because he just basically told her, I already got something. I know you want me to do this. Let's do it. Let's do it now. She had a burn book. So she sits there and turns her book open. And they got one of the photographers, kudos to the photographers, found her looking at this document. This document right here, literally, you can't see it right here, but we're going to go a little bit further. Right there. That's what this document is saying. It says Jayapal, and it's talking about her search history. I forgot how you say her last name. Search history. It is literally her search history when she went to the DOJ and looked up stuff. Pam Bondi stole their history so that she would know what they were talking about. She opened up the access to these files for them to see unredacted a couple days before she was supposed to be here at this hearing. And in so doing, just like Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein put cameras in locations to get shit on people so that they can use it as evidence, Pam Bondi did the same thing. But instead of a camera, they made them all search in with their own little special code, not a generic code, which they normally do, their own specific code for their individual person, so that Pam Bondi could take their search history, like our own private history, take our search history and try to use it against her or prepare herself with what could possibly be what they're going to talk about, so she can have a burn book that is the opposite or some other thing, so that you can go away from what she was about to say. That is so Jeffrey Epstein of her. That is so Jeffrey Epstein's best friend of 15 years or whatever or more, Donald Trump of her. Birds of a feather flock the fuck together. She literally stole her search history, all of their search histories, just so that she can prepare herself for what they were going to say. So that she can have a cheat sheet, because she can't do this job without cheating. I'm trying to find out, where does the merit come in? Because to me, it sounds like somebody cheated. It sounds like somebody got somewhere in life without actually working hard, without actually knowing her homework, that she literally had to cheat so that she can have the one up on people who are smarter than her, so that she can look like she's prepared. And even with her notes, she was ill prepared. How in the fuck are you in a position in which you have to cheat and still suck at your job? How's that? I'm trying to figure that shit out. Her and her team got their search information, and then went and found in their particular their population, where whoever they're representing, right, their constituency, to find out things that are going on in their city and try to blame the people who are representing them. They're not the police in that community. They're not, micromanaging their community. What a representative does is listen to the community and then try to get policies made to help out that community. They're not responsible for the killers in their community, the rapists in their communities, the pedophiles in their community. They're not responsible for that. That's what the law is for. That's what the prosecution for. And if it is a federal crime, that's what this dipshit Bondi is for. But she literally thinks that she can go into somebody's community that they represent and say, look what happened in your community. It's like, yeah, that was terrible. What the fuck do I got to do with that? That I'm here to get bills and laws passed so that it makes it better for them. And you're like, where are you going with this? I thought you was more intelligent than this. You really think that I know MAGA would have, oh, she got her. No, she really didn't. She got that community, but that community is not someplace that these lawyers and people who make bills, they don't represent it like that. That's not the way you represent your particular community. You talk to the police department and find out what do they need, what kind of resources they need. And then you try to talk to the government, try to create bills and laws and give them those resources. You can measure them on what they've brought to their city to help, but you can't measure them on day-to-day local crimes. This bitch is crazy. Do they look like police officers to you? Do they look like they're representing the community as lawyers to you? Fuck no. So what the fuck is she talking about? You have to be an idiot to really believe what she's talking about is something that is attached to them. It's not. Lawmakers do not go around policing the city in which they fucking represent. They create laws that help you catch them. They create laws that help you be able to take care of health care, to be able to take care of your roads, to be able to build bridges and be able to fund businesses. And that's what they're here for. So if you're going to try and talk shit or talk down to them, talk about that. But crimes in their community, the fuck they got to do with that? It's just insane. I was sitting there looking at her. I'm like, I don't have hair. I'm sitting there pulling shit out. I'm like, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? And the Republicans are sitting there like, yeah, you guys are stupid. You know you don't represent that. And the only reason they're not saying anything is because she's not lighting into their asses about the same stupid shit that they know they're not responsible for. Jim Jordan is a piece of shit human. Point blank, period. He sat there and let this woman break the rules of this whole hearing. When you're not asked a question, you just don't go random and just talk about, oh, you know what? There's a bird outside. You know, yeah, I picked my toenails yesterday. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? Answer the fucking question or shut the fuck up. It's their time. He gave her more power than the people who literally got in their positions nominated by the people. He took their power away and gave it to her. How in the fuck? He silenced Americans today. Because that's what it's all about. Those representatives asking questions, they're asking questions for us. We're calling them like, hey, look, I ain't going to vote for you unless you ask these questions. I ain't going to do this unless you ask these questions. That's the American citizen. That's how it runs. And they go in there and say, oh, well, we got 5,000 calls asking for this fucking question. I got to at least ask that question. And the questions that we ask, this bitch said, fuck America. And then the Republicans say, yeah, fuck America. Like, what? That ain't how this runs. But it is how this runs under Donald Trump. These people are asking questions that their constituents want to know. We voted them in. It's Republicans don't know how to govern. Either that or they don't want a democracy. And they're saying, fuck America. Because they don't allow the answers of the constituency. They think these questions are just coming from these people and they just don't like them. These people represent the majority of fucking America. These questions are coming from what America wants to fucking know. And if they don't ask the questions that America knows, they're going to hear it once they get out of that room and we make these phone calls like, what the fuck was that? I think Republicans have forgot that it's America that's asking these fucking questions. And it ain't fuck me, it's fuck you, Jim Jordan. You're not America. You're one man, but America wants these questions asked and answered. And you guys who said you wanted to know about the Jeffrey Epstein files and all that, didn't have any good questions to ask to protect children like those children who grew up to be unprotected adults behind you, or for you representatives in front of you, and you said fuck you to the kids and talked about 90-year-olds can't get to certain locations because of Native people or some shit. It's fucking insane, man. Put your party aside and deal with the problem at hand. I think the majority of Americans, even the ones who voted for Donald Trump, I've seen a bunch of them, they are diehards on this Jeffrey Epstein issue. And regardless of who came to it first, whether it was Republicans who were fighting for it or Democrats, we on the same plane now, baby. And you can't ask everybody to get on the same plane, and once they get on it, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and all the rest of those Republicans want us to jump off the fucking train. No, we got our ticket and we're heading to the destination of responsibility and fucking accountability for harming babies. Not just in the past, the fucking present, and the fucking future. We're not getting off this train. So either you answer it or get the fuck out. And if you, no matter who you are, Democrat, independent, and the next in the office, be prepared. You're getting this foot up your ass too. So if you don't handle it, you're going to have to handle it because the people tired of the bullshit. I said what I said. So she researched her search history and came up with something to debate it because she's inept and she had to cheat. And what's so crazy about it is this documentation, like look at the up close where she says, this is right here. She gives you the number right there, EFT number. If you can see it, I don't know if it's on your screen. It's kind of small here for me. But you got a bigger screen than I do, I'm sure. It says, new Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute. Look how she doctored that 19-year-old there. 19-year-old to make it legal. Ladies and gentlemen, you see that? That number right there, that 659-212, it doesn't exist. Go type it in. It's not there. All the numbers that she got there on all of these have been deleted. Or that is the system with a different number system than the one that we have, which is weird why they would have an EFTA number different than what we have. But we're going to prove it to you right now because what? We missed the straight facts of it in this bitch. You heard me. You heard me. We're going to go ahead and check that out right the fuck now. It says 19 years old there. You see there. All right, let's get to the real document and we're going to give you the real number to that bitch. Okay? There it is right there. And if you open it up, you go down a little bit. We see down at the bottom there, if you can see it real quick, that is EFTA 02706746. That's not the number that she had. Matter of fact, they ain't the same amount of digits. Her shit don't even have that many digits at the end. It's EFTA and some other like 4 or 5 letters. This shit's got like 7 letters after that EFTA. So it's not the same number, and in their files it must be something different. But when you look it up, it's no longer there. No file. But in her file, it says 19-year-old. We read it. Right here it says, new Brazilian, just arrived, sexy and cute, equals 9-year-old. How is it hers became a 19? Are you trying to tell me equals is a 1? Well, that's crazy because we see 1 and other shit up at the top, 17. We see a number 1 down below, that in Vove or whatever the fuck it is. We see 1s in the JPEG numbers. We see 1. So how is equals a 1 now? It says equal 9 years old. This heifer got her file and literally doctored it to say 19-year-old. Nope. New Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute, 9 fucking years old. But you get Pam Bondi, and all of a sudden she breaks you down and say, hey, it says 19 right there, 19-year-old. She's barely legal. She's legal. but just barely. But this was a baby. This was not a fucking 19-year-old. The idea that she covered up the child's age to make it legal is insane. There are multiple of these documents with this in it. And all of them are 9 years old. She chose to make that one 19. There are other documents that have a 10-year-old. Was she could turn that to 100? We got to see old ass woman looking hot at 100. Oh, it's insane, yo. It is just fucking insane. But yo, I'm gonna tell you something. There is one person today that gave me life. Gave me life, I tell you. I was like watching this shit. I was like, this right here is a movie. I was amped. I was like, this is what I'm talking about. She better not run for president, because I swear for Jesus, I'm voting. I'm voting for her. Why? Because she gets it. She gets it. I mean, in the scenario, she pulled a fucking audible. Now that right there, she pulled an audible. This is not the way she was going to do her thing. She realized that this heifer was not going to answer questions, and she pulled an audible. That right there, to me, ladies and gentlemen, deserves a vote. She pulled a fucking audible. Ah, check it out.
Or wrong, raping children.
Wrong.
Right or wrong, killing random citizens.
Definitely wrong.
Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States.
Definitely wrong.
Okay, thank you, because I probably never would have got that with our witness. Our witness, who somehow is a lawyer but does not understand how it works with witnesses. I'm not really sure what law school she went to and what all kind of cases she tried, but typically when you come into a space and somebody's a witness, then they sit there and they answer questions instead of asking questions. And then we also have this objection that we use as lawyers called non-responsive, when a witness fails to actually answer the question. But nevertheless, let me address the survivors, because that's exactly who they are. They are not victims, they are survivors. Let me say thank you for having more courage and moral clarity in your pinky fingers than the entire Department of Justice. We are currently the laughing stock of the world, partially because of the failed leadership within the DOJ, as we see kings and queens falling everywhere around the world. But we don't know the basics of right and wrong in this country, because it's not about partisanship. And that's why I applaud Thomas Massey, because he's the only person on the Republican side that has a backbone and knows how to stand up to corruption. But nevertheless, let me keep going. My Democratic colleagues have been attacked this entire committee hearing. They have been lied on. And frankly, the American people weren't looking for that. They were looking for answers about the corruption that they see coming from this administration.
Facts.
In the written testimony of this witness, of this particular witness, she stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both, you've intentionally done the exact opposite. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. And I might add that y'all actually had a judge that rejected y'all for trying to arrest Don Lemon before, just like the grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Kelly, just like a grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Slotkin, just like the case against Tish James was dismissed and the case against Mr. Comey was dismissed. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ, because you don't seem to be good at your job. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting these journalists. In fact, we know after Georgia Fort and Don Lemon were arrested, we know that there were homes of journalists that were raided. We know that threatened prosecution against students protesting your actions and forced tech companies to remove apps used to track ISIS activities. But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, "This is a good one." Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ is attempting to obstruct justice in the investigation of the rogue agents who have murdered American citizens, or how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed the investigation, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The Constitution is clear. The president shall not receive any payment except his salary while in office. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history. An attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
Gentlelady yields. Gentleman from Missouri is recognized. Excuse me, gentleman from Kansas, the Attorney General, former Attorney General, Mr. Schmidt is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and General Bondi, thanks for being here. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we talk?
I do. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, my friend, for many years. I find it interesting that she didn't even want to try, Congresswoman Crockett, to ask any questions, because she certainly did not condemn her leader, Hakeem Jeffries, for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein was convicted. And I will be brief to give you your time, Congressman. This is what she didn't want to talk about. Texas, from Cuba, convicted, homicide, arson, weapon offense.
Convicted. So what we talking about? Convict some of these perpetrators that rape these women that are sitting behind you, and you refuse to even acknowledge they are here.
The gentlelady from Texas is recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
That's exactly what it was all about. You can't fuck with Jasmine Crockett. The moment this half-witted blonde bullshitter got up and said this shit, the moment she got up and said, "That's right there, my dear friend from the Crypt Keeper," she didn't mention not once this white dude or Latin dude, whatever he is, that he was convicted of doing some crimes. Not once did you talk about this one that was convicted. And she was like, "That's right, Effa. They were convicted in my state. You can't even recognize the dude that you blowing penis on right now. The one you just sitting there giving him head. No, he's the greatest in the world, who is a pedophile in these documents. Yeah, you haven't admitted that the women behind you got raped by some of them. And that none of them are convicted because you ain't doing your job, Effa. So what is this shit that you bringing up? You're bringing up what their state has successfully done. Tried and convicted fucking criminals as a affront for you. I mean, how's that protecting you? Their state tried and convicted criminals. You didn't. How is that I got you? This bitch is crazy. She's talking about Hakeem Jeffries. I'm like, what does that got to do with her? I don't know what Hakeem Jeffries did or didn't do. I haven't looked that up. But that was her go-to. I'm like, you talking about taking money from him. You've taken an accusation and made it a fact. I don't know that that's true. I got to look it up. But at the same time, in these documents, Donald Trump raped the 13-year-old, and you're taking Donald Trump over the girl, the child. I'm confused. How does that make you a one-up? A child says a grown man raped him, and you say, I'm going to go with the adult. For what? There's no proof that he's right. But you can do an investigation and see if your guy is actually guilty for it. But you choose not to. It's crazy to me how this woman has a position. This is what they talk about merit. You just kiss an ass and all of a sudden you got merit. Oh, if I kiss his ass, I can keep my job. And that's all she was doing, tap dancing to keep her job. Because she's been fucking up so royally that even Donald Trump has thought about letting her go. Republicans have come out and said they want her gone. Ones that were for her the entire time now want her gone. And she's out here tap dancing for Donald Trump. And that's what it's all about. It's not a protection of children. It's a protection of a pedophile that's powerful. Ask yourself the question, why do you think it's so hard for these children who are now grown women and men to come out? Look at how people react that are in power right now and over the centuries and over the decades, how they reacted when you came out and told them the truth. When you told them you had evidence, and the one that was 14-year-old had a witness by the name of Tiffany who said she was willing to speak up on her behalf, and they still didn't do it under presidencies beforehand. Now let's discuss this real quick about the difference under presidencies, because they try to associate Donald Trump's presidency with everybody else's presidency. Now, if you're seasoned enough, I'm 55, you're seasoned enough to have known this country prior to Donald Trump ever getting into politics, you would understand that the only other person that was as corrupt as what Donald Trump is doing with our DOJ, FBI, and all these agencies, the alphabet agencies, it would be Nixon. This country, Republicans, have you no decency, sir? Kicked him out and sent him on his way and got rid of his presidency because of his corruption. And his corruption is mild compared to what Donald Trump is doing. Go look at your history. He is doing, Donald Trump is doing 100-fold of what Nixon did. We just don't have any decent Republicans fighting it. Then we did. We had decent Republicans fighting to say, this is wrong. Have you no decency? There is no Republican to say, have you no decency, Donald Trump? And there's no party that will back that up. That's the problem here. Donald Trump is way more corrupt than Nixon. Nixon had somebody break in, do some devious shit. Yeah. Donald Trump has his DOJ surveilling, spying on the representatives and probably Congress as well, the senators as well. He is getting information, just like Jeffrey Epstein did, recording people. Jayapal and all you guys, Donald Trump is recording you. I guarantee you there are cameras in your offices. I guarantee you there are cameras around you. Birds of a feather flock together, and these fuckers don't change their stripes. Donald Trump has cameras, probably even on the Republicans. That's how he got them to turn from making common sense decisions. I guarantee you he has video of these Republicans who pretend to be straight, but out here blowing people. I guarantee you those rooms that they stayed in, stay in my hotels. And they did, only to find out that his hotels had cameras in just their rooms. That's how you get people to get in line. That's why we sit here and realize, like, how is it that these people are literally like on one side of the fence one day and then on the other side of the fence the next day, like a Lindsey Graham. When it was before Donald Trump was like anything at all, he was kissing and licking the boots of another person, right? And then all of a sudden, when that person died, John McCain, if you don't know what I'm talking about, died, all of a sudden he had to cling to somebody else. He clinged to Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he says, oh, right after January 6th, Donald Trump needs to be held responsible. And he ended up staying at Donald Trump's hotel that was there in Washington. Think about this for a hot second. Donald Trump bought a hotel in Washington and forced all the Republicans to stay there. What did Jeffrey Epstein do? What did Donald Trump do with Mar-a-Lago? Cameras. Their idea is to get ops on people. That's how they make their money. The enigma they talk about, that's what they do. Howard Lutnick even said it. So now you kind of better understand why these people flip-flop, and they go from like one extreme to another, which they didn't used to do. Because Donald Trump has intel on these people. I guarantee you, Tim Scott is sucking somebody's you know what on one of the videos that Donald Trump has. And there's no way he's going to get out of it. That's why this man flip-flops all over the place. I have no doubt that something like that is going on with these people, because when you can't explain people going from one extreme to another, there's got to be a dividing force that's forcing them to go from one extreme to another. Humans don't go from one extreme to another unless you have some kind of leverage on them. You either offer them money or you frighten the shit out of them. Donald Trump don't give up money. We know this. So he is scaring the living shit out of them because he had them stay at his hotels everywhere he went. And whatever proclivities they have or enjoy, it's on tape. And they're not going to say shit until they're free from it. And the only way they're going to be free from it is when this bastard dies. So it gives you a better understanding as to why these people are going against what they said they had morals for. Oh, we believe in family. We believe in law and order. We believe in all this shit they believed in. If you're older than me, or at least my age, somewhere around there, 55 or older, you remember the Republican Party was party family. That's all. Whenever you ask them, what do you stand for? Party family. We don't like abortions. We don't like this. We don't like that. But it was all over the place on the same topic. Each Republican would kind of give you the same thing. They didn't like certain things to deal with abortion. They protested these abortion agencies and all that shit. All the extremes of everything. We believe in fiscal conservatism and all that. None of that shit is true. And why isn't it true? Because Donald Trump has something on them, yo. There is no way you go from one extreme to the other and justify it unless you have something on these people. And they were all forced to stay in his hotels. And Jeffrey Epstein recorded everybody in his hotel. Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump did the exact same things. Birds of a feather flock together. There's a reason why Donald Trump is in power. He has them he's got them strangled. They're in a stranglehold. There's no way to get out of the shit that they're in. Not unless they find their own tape that Donald Trump recorded. They have no recourse. They literally have to fall in line. And that's what they've been doing, falling in line. It's like they never believed any of it. I know they didn't believe any Nina. I know that. But my point of the matter is, what forces you to go that other direction? Racism is one, but pressure is another. These people were making money off of these ideologies. They were getting rich off of these ideologies. They were getting donations off these ideologies that they had before. And then Donald Trump came in, and all of a sudden they went against the ideology that was getting them rich. You don't switch from making a buck to some kind of weird moral that you never really believed in. Something has to force you, and these people are forced by money and power. And whatever Donald Trump has on them, that's when they shifted. They did not shift because it was a moral thing. They shift because something has them by the testicles or whatever part that hurts. Something has them there. They'll flip-flop. Whenever Donald Trump flip-flops, they flip-flop. And nobody really wants to be under that thumb. You're forced to be under it. I'm just saying. That's what I think. And I believe that that's a huge part of it. That's what Epstein did. That's what Donald Trump did. It's in these documentations of these emails and shit like that, and Epstein files. That's how they became this enigma. And you, Bert, tell me, people do not change, especially when you're 70 years old. You ain't changing. So Donald Trump realized the power that he has is to get these people in some compromising positions. And that's what he's done. And that's why they don't move. That's why America's like, what the fuck? Didn't they used to believe? We're confused. We're bamboozled. Like, it's like the same people. What happened to the John McCain type Republican? Where'd y'all go? They've been bribed. Just saying. That is my perspective on it, because what other reason would you move towards some radical position? I mean, the positions that they're in now weren't even the Tea Party's positions. They're Trump positions. And why would you follow? He didn't even really have a movement. He literally just was racist, disrespectful, and that was it. What else did you have? There was no strategy or plans. Oh, I love his policy. What was his policy? Tell me, which one was his policy? And they can't tell you because he had no policies. Racism was his policy. Xenophobia was his policy. Sexism was his policy. Money was his policy. Tariffs was his policy. Not all Republicans believed in all that shit. They believed in the money and the power. Well, obviously the sex part. But they didn't believe in all this extra shit that Donald Trump has brought to the party. That's why many of them have left. But the sycophants, they've stayed. Donald Trump's cabinet and the people in his circle were a part of Epstein's circle too. And that's not by coincidence. That's by design. Who do you bring around you other than the trusted people you had around you before? And if those trusted people were trusted by Epstein too, then you understand that that Epstein and Donald Trump were in the same circle and had the same trust circle, which literally means they were in this ring together. Just think about it. If you were raised in a community, let's say, that's near the hood, you had a friend that you knew who did drugs or whatever, or sold drugs. He was homie in school, but when y'all got out of school, he was on his own. You was at home doing your homework. You see him at school, but like, what up? You weren't hanging with him. But the ones who hung with him, those are the ones who are right now dead because they was in that group and got shot and killed because of the dealings they were going on with. Donald Trump and him were dealing with each other. They weren't like homies and then disappeared. They were homies, which means they were in the same industry. They knew the same people. They were in the same circle, in which we are finding out through these Epstein files, these people are in the same circle. And if you're in the same circle, you're doing the same shit. Just saying. All right. She also had a confrontation with Thomas Massey. I was proud of what he did today. Let's hear it.
Not to redact, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you.
Love that.
That was in the title, the victims, survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking. Co-conspirators, fully redacted. And by the way, I'm going to unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files. But he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release, These are the documents that we need, that you're holding on to and over-redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on.
It's crazy how this woman, like he said, they touched this document because they did block one name in that other document, but released all the names of the victims, but blocked the male victim, not victim, but the male person who is accused of harming some of these victims. But they left open the people who literally were harmed, who many have not come forward. They just moved past it and left it alone. But now it's out in the open. It's crazy how that happened. And she moves on to another fucking topic instead of being responsible for what just happened. And it's not lost on me, nor should it be on you, that she can't track who did this, but she tracked and documented and brought this day this search history of Jayapal, the representative Jayapal. She brought her information and what she searched. She had that ready available. But for this, she has a search history. She didn't bring anything to justify what he just asked. What he just brought up, I'm sure he looked up. And she had a lot of time because him and Ro Khanna were the first ones to get in. So she had his search information. And she did not come with the information that he searched, the answers to the information that he searched. She wasn't ready.
Let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
He was,
Mr.
this
Chairman.
isn't how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer.
That's not how it works. She can't give her answer. When he says reclaiming my time, she must shut up. And he knows that. He did that when he was focusing, him and Jim Comer, whatever his name is, Jim Comer, were talking to, or at least trying to get their individuals for Joe Biden's son. Remember when they was doing that? They couldn't govern worth a damn. They did it to him. So he knows, we all should know that once the person's time is always a representative. And if you don't answer the question that they pose to you, they can cut you off and ask another question. It is their time. You don't have, as a witness, time to do whatever the fuck you want. Think about it as in a court. If I'm in court and I ask you a question as a lawyer, and I say, well, were you at the location at the time of the murder? You can't go off, I eat burgers every day. My girlfriend's feet stink. And what the fuck are you talking about? I come back to me really quick. Strike that. She can't keep talking, or he can, whoever it is in the witness stand can't keep talking over me. That's how this works. And he allowed her to talk, the witness to talk over the lawyer. She knows she's a lawyer, prosecutor, head of the DOJ. She knows her position here. She's not the one empowered here. She is the one being asked the questions. And they ask her yes or no question. Any judge, if you was in a court, if you did not answer yes or no, they would stop you down and say, the question was yes or no. You can say yes, no, or maybe so, but that's the end of it. There's no diatribe. There's no long ass answer. Yes or no. A simple question. And if they don't answer, next question. They're in control, not the witness. And Jim Jordan was a part of this. He is responsible for the way this is supposed to run, and he broke the rules of Congress to do that. That should tell you right then and there what kind of party this is. They allowed her to answer questions that had nothing to do with what the question was. They're asking about the pedophiles. She goes on and talk about cases that have nothing to do with pedophilia. She can't run that way. Jim Jordan allowed it. He allowed it. That lets you know that we have this kangaroo type court type bullshit. They should not be able to do that. But Republicans, they're not there to govern. They're not there for the American people. They're there to protect the pedophiles and those who protect pedophiles. They know Donald Trump's a pedophile. Jim Jordan has been accused of pedophilia. And that also at the same time, that he was one of the people who witnessed pedophilia of college students in sports. I think it's wrestling. And he did nothing. He knew it was going on. So it makes sense that a person who protected a pedophile in his earlier years is playing the same role of protecting a pedophile now. He's not out of pocket. He's right in that pocket. That pedophile pocket. He's right there. Why is he a leader when they know that he protected pedophiles of men, athletic men, when they were in college? It's crazy how whatever state he's representing accepts pedophiles as their leader. It's crazy. Or protectors of pedophiles as their leader.
The time belongs to the gentleman from.
All right, I'm reclaiming my
Can I
time.
give my answer?
So
Yes.
I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman,
Because I
may I
have
give my
another
answer
question.
on that?
If
Here's-
It's a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer
Yeah,
on that.
You don't get a right to give your answer. Shut the fuck up is what you should be doing. She knows it. But she's trying to fight for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, look what I'm doing. I'm over here disrupting like you asked me to do. Fucking robot.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next
Chairman,
question.
it's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question.
You can give
Within
me-
40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes
You
of
had-
me catching you red-handed.
Red hand.
Thank you.
There was one redaction
funny, bitch.
out of
He's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and
Okay.
we
You
invited
know what?
you
Show
in.
the video.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get. You're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need.
Let's talk about this real quick. How do you have these people are so crazy? They talk about Trump derangement syndrome as if being deranged around Trump are people who hold him accountable, not the ones who accept the deranged shit he does. Trump derangement syndrome is what she has. Because no matter what he does that's sick and deranged, you accept. There are girls who were women that said that Donald Trump raped them. You ignore that. That would be Trump derangement syndrome. It wouldn't be Trump derangement syndrome for people who hold him accountable for that rape. That's not deranged. That's just fucking normal. It's deranged to ignore it. I mean, it's just insane. Who literally thinks, MAGA of course, that Trump derangement syndrome is holding somebody accountable for their fucking actions? This is the same man that said, if I shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, my people will let me go free. That ain't deranged? Because I don't care who it is, Democrat, Independent, if you shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, sane people that aren't deranged would send your ass to jail, not let you go free. So having Trump derangement syndrome are the deranged people, which would be Pam Bondi. People who hold crazy people accountable aren't deranged. That's normal. Good night, Wolf Mike.
I want you to watch the video.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the
himself.
rules here.
There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI.
This bitch is asking for a hotline. Call 1-800-FBI if any of the victims. They're behind you, heifer. They don't have to call you. They're right behind you. And the documents prove it because they're in them. So why would I call you to help me if I'm a victim when the victims are right behind you and you're ignoring them, you dipshit? I mean, fuck. Talk about deranged. If you need help, just call us. 1-800. We don't give a shit.
Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I am reclaiming my
the
time.
last
I'm glad
4
you're
years?
asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to
Love
reclaim
this. Love
time
this.
when
This
you
is
don't.
bigger than
when you
Watergate.
can't-
Love this. Listen.
When I don't answer the question the way
This
you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush.
Thanks.
This cover-up spans decades,
Thank you.
and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And
That's hard.
that's where the
I want to
most
know
transparent-
at what point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wessner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has
Which,
expired.
may she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The
Deep
gentleman's
fake
time
AI
has
porn.
expired.
What's that got to do with anything?
The
Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
I would, Mr. Chairman, could she answer the question?
Chairman, I was wondering,
The gentlelady's allowed, the Attorney General's allowed to respond the way she wants to respond to any member's questions, Republican, Democrat.
All right, I have unanimous consent request.
Gentleman's recognized for a UC.
All right, this is an example. I'm submitting these 302 forms that are entirely redacted, even when you go to look at
Without
them.
objection.
I'm submitting a witness statement that implicates Les Wexner.
Without objection.
I'm submitting an article from the New York Times. The DOJ released nude photos and
Without objection.
identifiable pictures of the victims. I'm submitting a letter from A.G. Bondi, the Cash Patel, imploring him to quit keeping the files when you found out that they were keeping files from you, because
Without
they're
objection.
still redacting files that you.
Chairman, are we going to
I'm-
go into recess for votes?
Yes, we are.
I'm submitting for unanimous consent a document of 17 individuals who've resigned because of the Epstein files.
Without objection.
That right there was crazy for Pam Bondi. She's talking about you denied and didn't vote for this AI fake porn. I'm like, America, do you know anything about this fake AI porn bill they tried to pass? Do you know anything about it? I don't. I'm pretty connected with a lot of this shit. I ain't saying that it ain't happened, but I'm just saying it's something I didn't give a fuck about. I don't know what it entails. The shit that Donald Trump and his minions come up with, to me, they have so much pork in them. I just don't. It could be like, oh, we wanted the fake porn thing, and then over here it says we can kill immigrants. You know, like I don't want that bill. Why would I want that bill? Because you can kill immigrants in it, and we're talking about sex, but you guys over here doing this Tourette's fucking bill making. You know, it's like, oh, it's about this, but it's about that too. Nobody wants to pass the shit you guys asked for because of the things that you put in it. The surface is what you're telling everybody about. Oh, this is great. But behind the scenes, you're taking away people's rights. Why the fuck would we want to pass something? Even if it's great up at the top, when you read it to the bottom, it's taking away people's rights. I don't know what this bill she's talking about, but why in the fuck has that got to do with anything with Jeffrey Epstein? What does that got to do with anything that he's mentioning about you guys protecting pedophiles? You want to talk about other shit because you are doing nothing. This entire day, this woman has not answered any of the questions. Forget the representatives on both sides. The questions in which Americans want to know that the representatives posed about the Jeffrey Epstein survivors, the people who caused these problems, could we at least talk about them from both sides of the spectrum, Republican, Democrat? Can we really talk about them and deal with this issue and get these people off the street so that we can protect the children right now? That as I've been on for an hour and a half, right, there have been children at this moment in time by those people in these documents who never got caught that are still alive that are fucking children. And we're sitting here talking about bullshit of the day that these people want to talk about everything under the sun as if this is in the past because this man is dead. It is not. Jeffrey Epstein is not the originator of this shit. He has his own brand, just like Coach and Levi and fucking, Louis Vuitton. He has his own brand of this shit. This shit's been going on since this country started. So for everyone to act like on the Republican side that it's over, let's let it go. No, we're not letting it go because anybody with fucking sense knows. Just because you got rid of one person does not mean you got rid of the entire clique. And we know that's not the case. This child sex trafficking is not one person. There are hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of these things happening. There are kids getting snatched every day, every hour even. And we want to sit here and act like Republicans. You guys are going to sit here and act like America's not worried about this? We are. And we're not only just worried about our children because it can happen to any child. It's we the people. It's not me the people. I'm not just worried about my children. I'm worried about any child that would be put in a situation where a grown man or woman would force them into a mentality of sex before they even learn what it is, before they're supposed to learn what it is. This is sick behavior, and we're sitting here acting like it's fucking having tea at a party or some shit. This is not the thing, Republicans, that you want to die on. This is not the hill you want to die on. For some reason, you are. You guys ran on this. The MAGA people ran on this because they thought Bill Clinton was the head of it. Not because you really gave a damn about children, because you thought the Democrats were the head of it and you wanted to get all these Democrats. But when you find out that it's Republicans, many of you have turned around and turned coat, and you sit here and like, don't give a fuck about the kids. These Republicans today were some of the same people who thought it was just going to be the Clintons, and he's going to get them for once. And when they find out their guy is in this form, in this documents, more than any Democrat, they can't handle it, and now it's a topic that we don't want to talk about. And then try to say, oh, Democrats want to talk about it now. Why? The question is, you were talking about it and you don't want to talk about it now. Why? If Democrats are late to the dance, so be it. Now they're at the dance and they're ready to dance with you. Why are you turning and tucking tail when you find out that your Lord, Orange Savior, is in the documents more than anybody else? Ran with the pedophile and has been accused alongside the pedophile who is his best friend for over 15 years. And now you don't want to talk about it. Now you want to obfuscate. Now you want to act like we're doing more, but you're not. You can't even turn around and apologize. Even if you wanted to be an asshole and say, I apologize for the Democrats and their presidency not for doing this, but we're going to do our best for you. Even if you want to be an asshole about it, but you didn't want to even do that. Why? Because you did want to show your orange pedophile in chief any kind of deference. You don't want to show them any kind of love, the actual victims. Why? Because he doesn't care about the victims. He is the one in these documents that caused these people, some of these people, pain. And I don't care what Democrat, if they're in that file and they did something to kids, fuck them. But the problem is, Republicans, you can't say that. And what does that say about you? We got one last thing. And that's Pam Bondi doing everything she fucking can to obfuscate. This heifer brought up stocks. Who the fuck is she in stocks?
Administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein.
You're right. You're right. But to sit around and act like you're better by doing the same thing as Merrick Garland, that doesn't make any sense. You're saying you released files, but you hid them. Once you found out Donald Trump was in them more than everybody else, you took them back and you redacted all the criminals and put out the names of the victims. What was that? Take responsibility for your part. Merrick Garland sucked because he didn't do anything. You sucked because you put out the victims and hid the fucking criminals. I mean, come on. Take responsibility for your part. But they can't do that. They want to play this tit for tat bullshit. Like it excuses them because Merrick Garland didn't do fucking his job, which we're pissed off as Democrats at him, that you're going to come out and say, when were you at with Merrick Garland? I said, but you're the one bitching at Merrick Garland for not showing the Epstein files. And now that you're in office, you're using the same dude that you said that didn't do it as a shield because you're not doing it. This shit makes no sense, Pam Bondi. Only the dipshits does this make sense. We're pissed off, Democrats, Independents, Republicans, at Merrick Garland. Bring his ass to this damn meeting. I want to hear him talk. And Democrats, light into him. And if he comes to you saying, well, Biden told us not to talk about it, so what? Then bring Biden's ass if that's the case. I am not party loyal. I am people loyal. Human loyal. Humanity loyal. Fuck party. If we find demons on either side of the aisle, I don't give a fuck. And so should you not give a fuck. Children don't find party. The only party they give a fuck about is cake, ice cream, and toys. They should not be talking about adult situations. They should not be getting pregnant at 11 from grown-ass men, having abortions and shit. They should not be going through that, which Epstein in these files did, which Donald Trump in these files did. So excuse me with the bullshit. Fuck your party.
How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump The Dow right now is over, the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why.
Listen to what she did. She said the Dow, this has nothing to do with the Dow. This is all about, can I sneak this in to party favor with Donald Trump? Nobody's talking about stocks. We're talking about protecting children. And this bitch went to money and power. Do you understand? The majority of Americans, 67% of us, are not really in, or we're in the stock business, but most of us, 80-something percent, have less than $50,000 in the stocks. That won't do shit for you when you retire. That $50,000, if you retire 65, will be gone in your first year. So understand, most of us are on Main Street. We're not on Wall Street. So when you speak about what the units are in stock, fuck them. We don't care. The majority of Americans are not in that. And if you think you are because you have a little account with $50,000 in, you're fucking delusional. The top 1% are the only ones that the stock really gives a fuck about. Your little $50,000, oh, you're great. That's wonderful that you do it. Don't get me wrong. It ain't doing shit for you if you retire at 65. So when they bring up stock shit, that ain't Main Street. That's Wall Street. And when you talk about Main Street, we're talking about there's 300-something million. There's 167 million that are adults. You're talking about 50-something million people, because 117 million of us don't have enough in the stock market to make a fucking difference in our lives. Only about 50 million do. And the top 1% of those are the only ones that will be retiring eating caviar. The rest of you bitches is going to be eating tuna. So don't get it twisted. When these people talk about the stock, they don't mean shit. It's nice and dandy for those who are in it and got a lot of money in it. And it's nice for those to have a supplemental income for a year, which is the most of us. It's not to dissuade you from getting into the market. It's to make you understand that when they talk about it like it's fucking making a difference in your life. And it's not. The cost of everything is going up. Everybody feels it. Fuck the stock market. It means nothing for the majority of Americans.
You're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P.
Did you catch earlier? She said $50,000. The stock is at $50,000. And then she kind of caught herself and tried to make a point because she knew she fucked up. Listen to it. I'm not giving anybody a chance to skate over their fuck ups, especially in this damn administration.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about.
No, it's not. You're in the DOJ. We should be talking about Department of Justice situations. And that is ICE and other organizations killing American citizens and harming people who are Americans or in the process of due process of doing what's right to become an American, and you're throwing them. Not only Latin people, there are Irish people who are in these camps that have been there for 4 or 5 months that don't have access to get out because they're in the middle of some debate with their passport, even though they're married to American citizens, and Donald Trump and his people are trying to make birthright citizenship or getting married to someone not a legal thing. So they're in limbo as they fuck with the Constitution. It's insane that we sit here as Americans and allow these evil people that don't like America or its Constitution to try and rewrite it and make it a different America than what it is. There is not a lot wrong with this country that we got to revise it to the point where we're tearing down the Constitution. We can tear down white supremacy, but that has nothing to do with the Constitution tearing it down. That gives us the rights, right? We shouldn't have to have the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, but we have that because they treated people of color as animals. So we had to have that. If they were on just level set that all humans are considered humans, whether no matter race, we wouldn't need the 13th, 14th, or 15th. We're just all humans. But you don't have that because we had devils running this country for hundreds of years. And it took people who were on the side of God to fight and die and sacrifice so that other human beings outside of white Europeans can be considered human. That's what this country's about. Face it. Quit lying about it. This woman and people like her are doing their best to tear this country down, not build it up. And I know there are people who are so pissed off, like myself, the way this country has treated people of color, have treated women, have treated gay people, are treating trans people now. We're sick of it, and we want it to be rebuilt in the image of God, of goodness, not this white supremacy bullshit. And they're trying to destroy it in the name of God, this evangelical bullshit that they're running down, to be able to turn it into white is right and everybody else is second. Nobody wants that except for racist white people and suck-ups who want to succumb to the power of white people so that they can, or these types of white people, so that they can be close to power. If America, no matter what race, color, creed, decided we're sick of these fuckers, there's a majority of us, we can push their asses out. But we got to stand up to them. All colors, races, and creeds, and say we don't want this shit any longer. Fuck this white supremacy bullshit. Fuck this separation bullshit. We are Americans. We can appreciate each other's culture without tearing it down, and we should be able to get opportunities based on our merit, not some fake bullshit merit that tells you that white is right and everybody else is wrong. If you can do the job with the proficiency that's needed, you should be able to get a job in your field. Simple as that. And that's all everybody's asking for. But racist white people don't want it. Because that means they have to actually work for this thing called merit. They actually have to earn this thing called merit, and privilege no longer gives them that edge anymore. And they're sick of that, because that to them, it's like, that's what got me the opportunity. That's what made my ancestors rich. And I'm going broke in this economy because my whiteness is not as much, isn't worth as much on the race stock market as it used to be. That's their problem. I speak facts, okay? I'm not here to make people happy or sad. I just want to speak the facts, and we deal with them. We grow up around that shit. I'm not trying to appease people's problems. I'm trying to point out the problem and say we can only solve it if we face it. You don't tell a drug addict, oh, you're doing great, when they're still on drugs. You tell them you're on drugs and shit is fucked up. You have no teeth right now. What are you going to do about it? Life is going to end for you if you don't change your ways. You have to face your problem to get over it. In this country, racist white people want us to tell them, you're good. There's no problem with you. You're awesome when you're a piece of shit. Sick of it. And this woman did her best job to disrespect the men and women who have been through hell. And I literally want to say to the men and women who stood up today, I am not one to be to say, I'm proud of you because I'm not better than you or anything like that, and you may feel that way, but I'm proud of you because there are children right the fuck now that are sitting and watching on their phones who just got raped by an old man or woman that is in the position that you were, and they're watching you do your damnedest to protect them, to strengthen them. And they're watching the Pam Bondis and the Republicans of the world who are literally saying, take it, young child. The person that just raped you is too rich for me to fuck with. So you're going to grow up and be okay. So what if you get pregnant at 11? So what if you have a baby and die? So what if they take your baby and do all these weird things to it? I can't do nothing about it because that's your problem. Your parents should have protected you. That's your problem. You should have never gotten to bed with him. That's your problem. You ran into the demon that I'm protecting. That's the Republican Party. The demon that's telling that child to shut the fuck up and take the rape. Take the pedophile getting his rocks off. And you ladies and men who were boys and girls are standing in that gap and saying, fuck that, no more. And the rest of Americans who are fucking tired of it too are finally coming to your aid and saying, yeah, fuck that. Fuck the money. Fuck the power. Because we love the kids. And we're going to stick it with you guys to the end. These fuckers will go down as long as we stand up. As long as we fight. As long as we fill that gap. And if you're one of those fuckers out there messing with kids, we coming after your ass. There ain't going to be a day that your ass going to sit here and breathe and feel good. Every day we're going to try and record you. Every day we're going to be looking out for you. And every day we hunting you like wild game. You should not live a happy life. The rest of your life should be hell. And those of us who give a fuck about kids are going to make sure that happens. Fuck you. That's all I got to say. And Pam Bondi, fuck you. Republicans who are supporting this shit, fuck you. Anybody else, Democrats, Independents, fuck you. Anybody who doesn't vote and you still protecting these bastards, fuck you. I hope you die slow. That's what I got to say about it. And if you ain't got this type of energy about it, fuck you too. Because you can't sit here and be half-assed about evil. And you can't sit here and get hurt by cuss words if you ain't out there fighting. Sick of this shit. You got more stress about me saying fuck than you do about a man sticking his dick in a child. Fuck all y'all. And the God you cling to when you sit here and allow this shit and get pissed off at what I say and not what the fuck they do. I said what I said. 10 toes down in it. So I'm tired of this. And every last one of you out there, we hunting your ass. We ain't gonna give up. And like Donald Trump keeps saying, y'all need to give this shit up. You little orange fuck, we ain't giving it up. We ain't stopping. Even when you in the grave, we still hunting your ass. And that's straight facts. No chaser. Fuck your feelings.